Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for the time, really appreciate it. If there's any questions, I'll leave my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
622, Sarah Thompson, Itasca County Land Department Trail Proposal. Amend Resolution 2021 for the Nashua Keewatin Snowmobile.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Thank you for having us this evening. First and foremost, my name is Sarah Thompson, for those that do not know me. I am under the Itasca County Land Department. I'm the Forest Recreation Specialist. I've been there for almost close to 14 years and been working with nonprofit ATV clubs, snowmobile clubs, and also some non-motorized groups as well for trail planning, project management, things like that. So we're working on a project currently, and some of the council members may know about the project, some may not. We have the Keewatin Trail Runners ATV Club that has been looking at providing a connection between the city of Keewatin and the Lamhardy ATV Trail, which is west of town, south of Nashua. There's been a couple proposals shooting around. We had one essentially going east of town. Right now, we're running into a little bit of a hiccup with that. So the club is looking at currently going west of town. And I'll have Mark and Jim talk about it a little bit. But first and foremost, before we get to the trail portion, I want to talk about the resolution that was approved back in 2020 for the snowmobile trail in town, because this will segue off of that. So back in 2020, we came to the city council for the Nashua Keewatin Snowmobile Trail connection to come to town. At that time, the city council approved, I believe it was 2nd Avenue under that resolution. So during that time, obviously there's been a little bit different route that was communicated, obviously miscommunicated. Number of things have miscommunication. COVID happened, and there was a change in board with the snowmobile club too. So there's probably a lot of miscommunication that happened. So we need to clean this up and properly designate where it is. We've already been in touch with US Steel on the location of where the trail is, and they are good working with us on that. All we have to do is a license amendment. So we're coming to the city today to amend that resolution to show where the trail is and to have it fully authorized. And Beth, I believe I provided those streets to you in an email. I'm hoping those are the right ones. It was 4th Avenue Alley, correct, and 5th, and then 1st Street Alley. Was that correct? So I'd like to.
That's what I have here. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'd like to request if we could amend that resolution for snow.
Sure we can. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Pat.
Should we draft a new resolution, Brian?
I think.
Instead of amending.
I think that may be the cleanest way, is
Yeah.
just to update and replace this resolution with a new updated resolution.
And I can help with that as well if we need any guidance for that too. So then comes the ATV trail proposal. And the ATV project right now, so Itasca County has an OHV trail development policy, and I'll try to be very brief here because I know I'm only limited time. In order for a club to get an ATV trail on the ground, they have to have a local government unit sponsor for the grant aid program through the Minnesota DNR. The contract is with the county or the local government unit of choice. Typically, it's been Itasca County that's been sponsoring the majority of these ATV trails, in fact all, and snowmobile and our ski trails as well. So that aligns with the grant aid program. And with our policy, the club has to come to the county to request sponsorship, but before they even get sponsorship, they have to go through the whole process. One is introduction of the trail proposal. The next is a public meeting. which will be following, in April, we're gonna be having a public meeting for this project. And so with that, I'm gonna have Mark and Jim talk about it, and, we can move on. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, you guys get to talk too, so.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everybody.
Hi.
So our proposed trail is basically heading out of town to the west. If we can get everything coordinated using the existing old highway / Wasabi trail, going out west of town and hitting the old highway. As soon as we get to the road that crosses under the 4-lane where the bridge goes over, we will be shooting to the south and then propose that we're gonna use the sewer line clearing to get over to the sewer line road, sewer plant road, right south of O'Brien Reservoir. Then our proposal is we're gonna go around the backside of that pond that's right up against the highway. And we're working with Burlington Northern on getting a crossing to jump across and join up with Glenhart.
Nice.
So if we can get city support on it, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, my sport.
That's one, I need a couple more.
I'll just elaborate a little bit more, council members. So currently, we have had conversations with US Steel on this trail project as initiating our landowner permissions. That is a part of the package when the club comes to the county for final sponsorship. They have to have in hand at least a signed off written authorization from the landowners that this is gonna happen. We've also sat down with Glacier Park. They own Keewatin Holdings, where the overpass is, just north of there where the trail turns south off the trail. And as long as US Steel and Minnesota Power are on board, they're looking at providing a license. So those communications with Minnesota Power still have to happen. We still have to work out with MnDOT because we will be in MnDOT right of way. And then of course, Wasabi Metallics and Burlington Northern. So we have some pieces to connect, but ultimately it's getting that connection and getting our trail towns connected together for tourism, to boost the economy and provide business in the city.
Well, with Keewatin and, what's the other outfit you said?
Glacier,
Glacier and them, I can help with that, because I meet with them sometimes and stuff. So if you need somebody to help with that, I'm available.
For sure, and we've
And
been,
Minnesota Power too, they're a customer of ours. So.
great, yeah, and I would like a contact if you have one. I'm in touch with US Steel with Lori Cressaway, who is the new land asset manager there, and she's fantastic. I've had a really good conversations with her, I've seen no issues. Some of you are probably wondering, okay, with the Wasabi Trail corridor. So currently the Wasabi Trail corridor has an ordinance. I've already been in touch with the St. Louis Lake Regional Railroad Authority, and their deputy director. And also our Itasca County Regional Railroad Authority, we would have to go to as well to authorize that use on the Wasabi Trail. Being that the corridor itself is wide enough, it's old highway, there's good separation. There's a few obligations that the club will have to do. We have to ensure that proper signing is done. We have to have a sign plan in order for the trail to distinguish two areas, so we're not having that use jump on the trail, and we don't want to have that interaction with hikers, walkers and bikers, roller skate, we just don't want to have that instance, right? So we're working together to make sure we have trail jump connections and have that opportunity to share a corridor for this particular location and then jump off south. So we're not looking at going the whole corridor, obviously, just using a small section. Any questions from the council?
I guess my only concern is having the engineer okay running over the sewer line. You got those big manholes and stuff, that's a
So
safety.
those will all have to be marked better than they are. A little
I mean,
taller.
it's a great idea. Just don't wanna screw up a sewer line, we just put in,
That shouldn't hurt nothing.
how deep is the sewer line buried?
I don't know for sure.
it's gotta be at least 7 feet or deeper.
And one thing that we need to do
We can
is
check into that.
be on the ground and do some assessment prior to actually defining where the trail location is. We have the right-of-way limitations, so we have to identify where the right-of-way line is. If it goes beyond the right-of-way, then we would have to get permission from US Steel on those sections of the corridor. To minimize any potential impact to the line, there are opportunities to adjust the corridor if need be.
Yeah.
So we have enough wiggle room that we can make it work.
Trail openings and closings also. So you know,
Yeah,
they don't open until it thaws out, and they close before it freezes, so,
you wouldn't be using it year round.
right,
No, not at all,
so that would lessen the.
That lessen the frost being driven down.
for sure. The Len Hardy is open, essentially after breakup. Typically, it aligns with some of our other grant aid systems that open typically around May 15th. It all depends on road restrictions, when that ground is conducive enough to drive on, and so we're not creating damage. That's the ultimate decision for this. We also have to align with other property owners' decisions of allowing trail opening dates. So it could be May 15th, it could be May 30th. We do fall on Blandon lands, and we follow their openings of their roads. So when they open their dates, we open our trails. So that's what we have for you, and as soon as we get a public meeting established, the council is welcome to come, and you can have a presence and be able to provide you the full layout of the map. And I apologize, I don't have that with me today, but at least we have the initial start off of the city. So we appreciate your support.
Mayor,
Okay, yes.
do we need, what type, do you need a motion or do we need a resolution or what? Do you need anything tonight?
We did submit paperwork for approval for trail.
So what I would say is we could, because of the ATV trail connection, it's going to follow the route of the snowmobile trail on the north side. What I would recommend would be to, if we can consolidate the snowmobile trail and the ATV trail in that one resolution.
Okay.
On those streets, I think that would work the best. And that way, then we can also, you could do a letter of support or a resolution of support for the trail, however the council would like to address it.
So you plan on using that same map route for the ATVs?
Correct.
To lessen the confusion of them, so
What-
what crosses over from snowmobile to ATVs.
Less impact on citizens too.
For sure.
Good road to
It's
town.
not down the middle of the
Yeah.
town.
Right. No, that's perfect.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
if the council wanted to take action tonight, just as kind of a general action of support, I think that the council could do that with the understanding that we would work with everyone else to get the final resolutions back in place. And then once those resolutions are updated, those would come before the council for final or formal approval, which would be our authorization of what we can authorize for the project.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
A motion to support.
Proceed with the recommendation.
I'll make the motion to support the ATV club and move forward with updating the resolutions for the trail to be realigned
I'll support.
to the map shown.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, 6-3, Casey Venema, Itasca County Commissioner, District 5, update on the 169 corridor.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Quick update for you. 169 is moving forward slowly, but we did get the DOT's attention, not District 1. So we went down to St. Paul and met with the Deputy Commissioner. and explained our circumstances and that this corridor is supposed to, have been finished by now. Started in 1958, and now they're trying to change their mind on the last 8 miles and say, well, it could be a hybrid 2-lane, and we're not accepting it. No way, no way. Between the firemen and firewomen that have had to assist in the 14 deaths in the last 10 years, it's unacceptable. They try to say some of it it's on the 4-lane. Yeah, it's on all highways, but this is a dangerous spot. Captain Keewatin is reporting speeds of upwards of 90 miles an hour between Pengilly and Taconite because one slow driver creates a jam up and then somebody's got to go. So we're working hard on it. I went down and testified a couple weeks ago in front of the transportation department to try to push the money forward again this year. We know everything is tight, but it is coming along. And since we talked to the deputy commissioner in St. Paul, they are planning a bus tour to come up and look at it with engineers and assess it. I've emphasized there's plans from the 80s that they could relook at. They don't have to reinvent the wheel, but we want it done. And the big thing is it doesn't have to be a super 4-lane like it is out here with this big, huge median in between. Colerane's got a curb and gutter right down the middle. When they go down St. Paul, everybody goes down 35, you go on 6-lane with a cement barrier between 6 lanes. This doesn't have to be fancy. It's got to allow safety for the slow drivers to drive in the right lane and let the fast drivers drive in the left lane the way it's meant to be. So we're pushing forward with that. Couple other things. County's moving forward with the ambulance service. We did pass that. Did have a public hearing on it. That's all going well. Next thing is to go out for quotes from different ambulance services. I asked to check Duluth, Rochester, whoever. We want everybody we can to try to get in on this. The other thing is, yesterday I looked into, originally we were talking about taxes being assessed on your property values. Now we're gonna look at just like a garbage fee, just one, just everybody gets equal cost because it's, I got pointed out, there's a few of these $800,000 homes on Swan Lake that they're gonna pay $1,000 where somebody downtown over Taconite might pay $50. So, so we want to make it fair for everybody, and I think that if we do it that way, it would be $60, $70 a year per yeah. So
I like that better.
yeah. Obviously, some of you guys got to meet seated today and do a little bit of a tour. Tracy, I think, is getting up next to talk, but they've got 2.5 people now working for us, and let's take advantage of them. But we've been talking that let's work on the things that we can truly do and things that we really can't. Let's push them off to the side and try to help the communities the best we can. I'm going to rain on a little bit of Barb's thunder. We do, 2 of us meet with the DNR quarterly, or actually monthly, and last Friday met with Joe Henderson and Jess Richards for the DNR, and had some really good talks with them. Things are moving great for Masada Metallics right now, so that's a good thing. A little off topic, but we put together, our sheriff's department has put together a safe exchange at the parking lot right in by the courthouse, the parking lot. You're seeing it more and more around the state because of all these marketplace and different swap exchanges and everything. Well, they're designating a spot where there's cameras and everything so people can go in and buy and sell in a safe place. And if there's a custody with a child or whatever, it's a nice safe place. And I think it's something that more and more communities should start looking at for future, just because of the way people are doing business. So just giving a little update. And then going on to General Waste DevCon, Commissioner Johnson has went down and testified for solid waste, for the site out there, to help that along. And then, the other part of that is if all this goes through, he's also working on, with the MPCA, on a grant to start doing construction recycling. So we start separating concrete, different things, and quit jamming up their facilities, which will help extend everything. So, they've got a program down south that they're grinding shingles now, and they're using shingles to, like a dust control. And we're trying to get a couple loads hauled up here and do a test somewhere just to see how that works versus using the chemicals. So it's a lot. Quickly, questions?
Yeah, is the county gonna do anything on citywide cleanup days this year?
No.
Nothing, not in the business no more, huh?
Sorry, the tire
We ruined
the tire recycling hit us hard. So
Yeah.
that ended up being over $1 million.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that hurt. So now, hopefully that we can recoup from it and make something happen, but right now, this year it's off the table.
We're still gonna run it, but just be a little bit less, that's all.
Yeah.
Don't take so much.
And this is a suggestion. Monday night I was at Effie, and I said, you know what? Reach out to Hibbing Salvage, or it's a little further away, but over in Cohasset, what's that? Bass Brook. Maybe if you can put together a few containers full of washer dryers or whatever.
Right.
If you don't want nothing for it,
Oh,
they may just come take it.
okay,
So I just had Bass Brook do a cleanup for me at my shop. And basically, we just split it. They come get it, haul it, and I get half of the cost of it. So, but if you're just trying to get rid of it, maybe they bring a couple dumpsters and they would just take it. So.
perfect.
I think Greg has a connection
Correct.
there. Yeah, I think so.
Greg Stoltz of the Itasca County
Yeah.
Environmental Services.
So. Good.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
A lot of good information. Okay, next up, B, Amanda Lampa, Community and Business Development Specialist. Thanks for coming.
Amanda had to scoot, my apologies. I am here from CETA. Some of you may have been familiar with Sarah Carling. She has a very big footprint that we are trying to fill, or I should say footsteps, we're trying to fill. We have hired myself, this is my 4th week working with CETA, so as you can tell, I'm brand spanking new. But I met with Beth Ann today, and we are going to put in an RFP for Landon Foundation funds, and hopefully start working on your wish list for some of these items that desperately need to be completed and worked on. Any questions for me? I'm going to be very brief, so any questions for me? You'll be seeing me around, and we'll get together with you about the plan.
Excellent.
All right.
Glad you were able to meet everybody. Thank you.
For coming.
Thank you.
6.4, Barb Colmy, Bill Masami, Bill Itasca.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting me talk tonight. A little bit about my interest in the Build Itasca project is in 1985, my husband lost his job in Butler Tax. It has been grinding on me for over 40 years about how, knowing that that was the richest ore deposit in northern Minnesota and North America, that nothing happened. So when I heard there was something coming, I'm on board. So I've been active not only with the school district as vice chair, because it's huge revenue for our school district when the production tax gets going. I've made my mission to be, if I'm gonna have a personal cause in life, it's gonna be the success of this project, bringing jobs and some economic stability to my community. So that's where I'm coming from. I stopped and brought a brochure to Beth. You have in your packet, the Build Itasca Coalition. We're a group of local elected and community people who are advocating for this project. And Casey didn't steal my thunder, but we do, are on some groups together where we testify together and meet. I personally meet with the pollution control and the governor's office specifically, and constantly prodding them about where we're at, where we're going, and how things are coming. So this opportunity for this April 9th function is Musabam Talks pays for a coach, motor coach. Last year we went, the bus was full. We stormed the Capitol, we talked to our area legislators and anybody else who will listen, and honestly, we have a lot outside of our area that are interested in the success of this project for the revenue it's bringing to the state of Minnesota in general. So it was a great opportunity, it was a day-long event. It was enlightening, and it was nice to hear that other people are excited about what this project brings. So that being said, I'd like permission to include this brochure in our monthly utility bill here when it goes out here for April 1st. We'll pay for the materials, to attach to the utility bill. I don't know if it's possible, but I'd sure like you guys to consider it. I also have a few words of, when I asked Larry Sutherland, the COO of the Musabam College Project, if he had anything he wanted me to say. So he gave me a few things here, so bear with me. He said, Musabam continues constructing it. It's approximately $2.5 billion project, which will produce 7 million metric tons per year in a state-of-the-art facility. It currently has 400 union trade contractors on site and plans to ramp up as soon as the weather warms up. It has 52 of its own full-time managers hired for the project. It continues to work in conjunction with the DNR and Minnesota Pollution Control to finalize the permit to mine amendment that will enable them to start up in first quarter of 2026. So his final comment was, if I may read, Musabam has fully rebuilt the community and political trust about the viability of the completion of this project. They are fully funded and there's no more questions of if, it's only a matter of when it's going to be completed. As they complete the project and bring it to full operation, it'll employ hundreds of full-time operations and maintenance employees and support staff for decades to come with high-paying jobs. That's really important to our area. We've been dragging along for a long time. Our Itasca County tax base is in dire need of the revenue that will be provided with this large industrial facility for generations to come. And we all appreciate the support from our local and state government officials and private business and entities that will benefit from this facility. So thank you, and please consider my request to attach to our utility bill for this once a year bus trip. The bus is free, and we pick up in Keewatin, comes from Diving, pick up in Keewatin, stops in Nashrock, and it'll drop us off at the, it's 8 or 9 o'clock at night by the time we stop for breakfast, for dinner somewhere. So please, I'd appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks for everything you've done on this project.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. I know what you've done. I've been there with you some of the way, so I know.
Thank you.
That's our council meeting night, so I'm sure none of us will be able to go.
Oh, somebody can go.
One of you.
You just need a quorum.
All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. First up, 7.1, discuss building inspector training.
Mayor, I think Councilor Morris can weigh in on this a little bit.
Yeah, so, Police Chief Whitney asked about a building inspector. There's, one specific building in town that, renters are trying to get out of their lease. And he was told that it would go a long way if they had a failed inspection. So he approached me, asked me if we had anybody on the fire department that was trained to do it, which we do not. We looked into it. In order to get a building inspector's license, it's quite a process. And the fire inspector, for us to be qualified for a fire inspector, there's a class in July, but the class in July is only somebody who has their foot in the door already and is doing it. So there is not a class on the docket that we can figure out that would allow us to attend. So when the class comes around, or if it comes around, we'll see how much it costs, if it would make sense for the city. If we're only gonna use it every once in a while, it might just be better off for us to contract with somebody, but we did look into it, and right now there's nothing available, so.
Is there any building inspectors that we could maybe look at getting contract with?
So I heard that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Nashwauk uses Dick Grabco's son out of like Carlton or Clo K area. So, and I don't know, we would just have to reach out and see what it would cost for him to come and do the one property, so.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think last year we had talked about this, it was on the agenda, and I had gotten contact information for somebody out of, was he out of Cloquet? And he had provided us with what he charges and everything, so.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to pursue that route. Be quicker and, well, easier and quicker at this point.
Yeah, because I think the only one who doesn't have it is Mr. Green, and I don't know if he would come over to it or not, so.
Okay. Any question? All right, 7.2, Justin Worley and Josh Nelson Fusion Technology Contract Proposal.
Mayor Levine, you recall last week, or last regular council meeting, Justin came and gave a presentation to the council. You've had his contract here for 2 sessions. Officer Whitney is in support of going with Fusion Technology. They'd be able to do the police portion and the city's portion for the computer.
I got a question.
Pam, you have anything on this?
So they're gonna be doing both the office and the police department. What are you looking at? How often is Chris having them come in? Do you know? Like, what is the plan? Are you looking at pre-build or the regular rate, or?
I think that I'd have him spend some time and see what we have in both the office and the police, and then have him give us a quote, which would be more beneficial to the city.
Okay.
Chris did say he used them to help set up the security cameras and stuff.
You just called them and they came.
They came,
Right.
yeah,
Very helpful.
and they're already, through, what's that called? The law stuff where they get registered with the state.
BCA.
BCA and stuff.
So is that something we need to get prior to approving this, or what is the plan? Because this is a contract.
Right.
So I think you have to pick what option you want to do.
I think they're giving you options, you can either prepay or just get.
I would do the rate then.
Prepay is cheaper.
The prepay? Is that what did Chris recommend?
Chris didn't, when he was here though, they said that they had, I asked them like how many hours that they were approximating that it would be to get us up to speed.
Mhm.
And he said 30 hours, so roughly.
So is that both police and office, or
I think it was.
I guess if they've been doing the police department already?
It was, yeah,
So what's getting up to speed, I guess? I wasn't at the meeting, so I'm not aware of what's
The city side, not the cops.
the city side.
This is just IT support.
Yeah.
Bring it back again.
We currently are not in a contract with our previous provider. It's just when he sends the bills. We're not in a contract with Roger.
So you don't want to do the prepaid, pre-bill? You just want to do the hourly rate?
It's just an option in the contract.
Right.
I mean, if he's saying that 30 hours is what he thinks to bring us up to then it is cheaper to do the pre-bill, but then after that, it would just be on call when we need you.
Mhm.
And their availability to when you need them is a lot quicker than what we've been experiencing.
Right.
For instance, our YouTube, we're having a difficult time connecting to the internet in here. This has gone on a long time, so we're missing something.
Mayor,
Yes.
both these gentlemen work for the county. They take care of all of our top stuff for the sheriff's department, all the confidential. Very good. One lives in Marble, so he's close.
Nice. Yeah, but Jeff, you could tell us that we did all kinds of work, so
They have
very
the
familiar with our stuff.
city of Nashville as well.
They're natural too.
They did also say that they would bill, if we could only afford, say, 8 hours in the first quarter or whatever, that they would work with us on that. That it didn't have to be all 30 hours up front if we can't afford it, or if it was something that we don't want to do,
He did.
so.
I think we should hire him.
Yeah.
We
I'm
need
in
to,
favor.
I like the presentation. The office needs help.
It's just, do you want to do prepaid or do you want to do hourly?
Well, we can discuss that after we hire him. It's just part of the contract. We can either pay him by the hour or buy him in bundles.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, it'd be a good idea, to probably do the 20 up front. If it's gonna be 30 hours, you're saving $10 an hour. If we go over 20, and then we can either buy another 20 or do it by the hour.
Have a motion to.
I'll make a motion to hire the Fusion Tech to be our IT people. With discussion later to how we're gonna do a bundle or not.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Beth, maybe when they come in to do their initial assessment, then they can give us a proposal.
They're pretty
Yeah.
workable.
Yeah.
All right, move on, 7.3, discuss the cannabis ordinance. Attorney Lindsay, registration license fee and the location of facilities.
So, and I apologize, I don't have the language in front of me because my computer went dead. Are there questions from the council?
Mayor Levine, this was on your agenda last meeting. And they did have a question as to if the zoning committee needs to be involved in this, or does it start with them, or does it start with the city council? And then I included a zoning map this time, so you can see there's a lot of different zones that you go.
So in the process, if it's an ordinance that affects zoning, the zoning committee should weigh in on it.
Okay.
So it should, I would recommend that it does go to zoning. What other questions could I help?
Anybody have questions?
So what would zoning be weighing in on, the location of where a facility could be?
What zoning would weigh in on is whether or not cannabis businesses would be appropriate uses in different locations. And they would make recommendations to the council about where the different types of cannabis businesses or uses may be appropriate. For example, retail licenses don't come with the same concerns that a mezzo business license would come with. So a mezzo business is kind of a production or manufacturing business that has a good amount of space. It's 15,000, up to 15,000 square feet of canopy space for an indoor operation, or like 2 acres of, or up to an acre of outdoor growth or production. And so obviously those sorts of activities probably wouldn't be very well suited to a downtown or business type area. And that's the idea being that the Planning and Zoning Committee would have a good idea on where our zones are located, what the characteristics of those locations or zones are, and would be able to make recommendations about where different types of uses may be more appropriate.
I think last time there was a question asked about the population, on how many licenses that we potentially could have in town based on the population.
So the way that the new law is written, up to, for every 12,500 people, you're required to issue 1 license. There is no upper limit. So if the city says we're comfortable with 3 licenses, as long as you're not lower than that lowest threshold, it's acceptable. What other questions can I answer?
So we need to send this to zoning first before we can do anything with it.
I think that would be probably like.
So we'll just table it for now.
I'll make a motion to send the proposed cannabis ordinance to the zoning commission for review and recommendation on location of potential cannabis businesses, mezzo, and retail.
Yes,
A question about that. I mean, at the very minimum, we would still have to maintain what the state guidelines are. Do you know the state guidelines for cannabis retailer next to a residential area or distances?
500 feet, I think, is what is in there.
Mayor, if I may.
yes,
So it's not necessarily distance from residential areas. There's certain prescribed uses where the state has some options where it can prescribe distances. I believe it's up to 1,000 feet from a school, and then up to 500 feet. Yep. Well, I think the school possibly could go up to 1,000, and then up to 500 feet from treatment facilities, playgrounds, parks, places where youth are known to gather regularly. Those sorts of activities.
Casey?
So the county is working right now with the county attorney, the city of Grand Rapids, because they've pretty much done this already. We're doing some tweaking. We're trying to get our stuff done, and then we were gonna reach out to all the communities of the county to say, this is what we're doing. If you want to fall into that umbrella, I apologize. I probably should have talked about that. I didn't see that coming until after I sat down. But the manufacturing of it, right now, there's currently Highway 35 that's looking at going into the old Ainsworth building in Grand Rapids. And then MN Technologies is looking to go out into Cohasset. I think they're about the only 2 people that have applied for licenses for Itasca County to grow, because you have to have a certain demographic, and I don't think you guys would fall into that, depending upon how far out your city limits go. But then it comes down to how many, to Tanya's point, there's a number for how many facilities, and I think that you have the right to have 1 or 2 here in your community, but I think it's going to be pretty strict on where residents are versus your downtown.
Right.
So we have more to come. I don't know if that helps with, I don't know how many rounds you guys have been at this, but we are, hopefully soon going to throw this out to all communities to come in and see what we've proposed as a county.
Do we have a deadline on that, Brian?
Well,
Yeah.
so the first round of applications are due in by the end of this week, I believe.
March 15th.
and thereafter, they may start issuing some permits.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to work with the county because actions that the county takes relative to this issue can affect the city. Specifically, there's an exemption within the statute. You're required to register at least one license for every 12,500 people. But if you're involved with part of the county plan and the county in different areas has used all of the capacity that they're required to hand out, so if they've handed out a license for every 12,500 people, then the city of Keewatin may not necessarily be required to hand one out, or I shouldn't say hand one out, to register one. And so the two different ordinances can affect each other.
We haven't had anybody come forward yet.
No, Mayor Levine, I did reach out to Environmental Services and they did say they're working on it and would contact each community when they were ready. So hopefully it's soon.
I think we can still send it to zoning though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everybody.
Mayor, just for clarification, the applications don't come to the city, they go to the Office of Cannabis Management, and then that's where they get approved. Then they go to the city, then the city has to approve them. So without an ordinance being in place, if someone came in by March 15th and applied, and we didn't have any regulations in place, they can still, to a point.
I may be able to speak to that just a little bit, Mayor.
Yeah.
So, if there is, so there's a whole bunch of things going on here. If someone were to come to the city and we had no ordinance in place and if they were able to, if they had been issued their license from the state and they came to us and said, we want to register in the city of Keewatin and we want to put our operation wherever it is in town. And if we don't have a zoning control in place that talks about how that use could or couldn't be established, and they establish it, they'll become a grandfathered use and would be able to remain there, even if we change our ordinances or zoning controls later to prohibit it. That being said, the risk is definitely present, but it's not high. At this point, during the first year, my understanding of the way that this works is they're capping the total number of statewide licenses in each category that they're going to issue. And so the likelihood that somebody would come into Keewatin with anything other than a retail license potentially at this point is fairly low. But all those things can change, and those are just everybody's best guesses. So.
Seven point four, review of social media for inclusion into policy matters.
Mayor Levine, I don't know that Attorney Lindsay has had an opportunity to review that.
I have, and I'm sorry. Just glancing through that social media policy, there's nothing that I see there that really causes me concern. It seems the focus of the policy is that we're going to be polite, we're going to be fair, we're not going to discriminate, those sorts of things, which are all important. I haven't had an opportunity to review it at length. The one thing that we've got to be careful about or cognizant about of when we have social media pages as a city, if we allow commenting on our pages, those comment spaces are then considered to be, what's the constitutional phrase for it? Public spaces essentially, or it's limited public forums. And so once we create those comment spaces, we can't go through and just delete comments that we don't like because we don't like the content of the comments. It's, if we're gonna allow them, we're gonna allow them. So in a lot of cases, I suggest that if we're gonna have Facebook posts or Facebook pages, we disable the features that allow comments on our own page. Obviously, folks are free to comment in the general public, however they feel. But if we make a space available on our site where people can speak their mind freely and openly, then we can't prevent anything, even the kind of coarser comments and language. So.
Okay.
It's good to go.
I don't see anything there that causes me to sign.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the social media policy.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, discuss public utility disconnect, reconnect fee. Dave.
Hi, council. I am just asking, right now the water reconnect, disconnect, fee is $100 each time that someone, $50 and $50 reconnect, disconnect. I'm seeing that people are needing to have their water shut off for a plumber to come in or for a matter of a little bit of time, and the fee, I think that it's kind of outrageous. I'm asking if the council will, maybe drop that down to like $50 for a reconnect, disconnect, or even electricity being disconnected. These people are struggling. You come in, they have to pay their past due bill to get their electric back on, plus they have to go another $100. So I'm just asking for the residents in town that most plumbers or something, they're paying lots of money for these people to come in. I would think $50 would be plenty for a reconnect, disconnect fee almost. So if you guys would want to consider that. We are meeting, tomorrow with the Public Utility Committee to discuss some of this stuff, so I just wanted to throw it out to everybody. We'll be discussing that to bring back to you.
You want to wait?
Mayor, yes, so, yeah, it is on our discussion for tomorrow between Councilor Morris and myself and Deputy Clerk Billy, so
Good, glad you're bringing it up.
we should have it ready by the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Billy. 7.6, discuss soccer field preparation, fence removal, building removal, and concessions. All right, everybody has flyer in their agenda for this. We have to take one fence down on the ball field from the north end kind of to the south end to the skating rink.
I think we already approved that last year.
We did.
And building removal, okay. Just left two. You already told me. We're gonna, I'd like to have a couple things here done to instruct our crew to take the building down and then do whatever they gotta do to fix the concession stand up in the old, in the skating rink building. That's more centrally located for them instead of moving them to the one way up on the other end of the ball field.
Yeah. So I think we already did talk about taking the one down. So that's been
Okay,
on the books for a while, since last year, I think we discussed
and
that.
I've already talked to Bill Teagan, he said that he would get me a dumpster for that.
Okay. So I think, yeah, utilizing the rink for the concessions, someone could go in there and clean it up and get it ready for them
It's a
to
good
use.
cleaning. And possibly move the refrigerator from the other into that for them to utilize.
Yeah, I'd make sure that fridge works first before they even attempt to move it.
Yeah,
It probably hasn't been used in a while, and I don't know if it's even works.
in a while.
Wasn't there already discussion too, once it warmed up, they were supposed to take the fence down?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Last
think we
year.
already passed that, except this is, the concession part of it is new. You just
Turning the warming shack into the
Yes.
concession?
Yeah.
And then they can use the
Bathroom is there.
Yeah. So now we won't have to get a porta john.
Right. Well, there's still
Yeah,
a
you
little
still will have
counter and
to have
stuff,
some.
you gotta have one.
Yeah. On the other end for T-ball and
for the ball field. in.
Mhm.
All right, well, we're good on that then. Move on to new business. Discuss public utility residents double water line.
Hi again. I put in your packets, or Beth put in your packets, ordinance that was back from 2003, it looks like. Since I started, there's been a list of certain residents in town that have a double water line. So if something has ever come up, we can't shut off one without shutting off both. It was supposed to be before these people were to move or sell their property or whatever, they were supposed to fix this before, selling their house. Out of about the 8, I think there's about 8 of them, on the list, I think 6 have moved, and nothing's ever been done. So I'm wanting to see if maybe we could, consider for those homeowners in town a double water line to allow the city to record a deed restriction or an encumbrance on the title so that when the property transfers hands, whether by refinance or a sale, it would be noted before a new deed is created so these can be taken care of.
Well, we had something, I know years ago when I was here, we had something like that. But it's overlooked sometimes. That's what's happened. We do have something here on it, I see.
It's just a resolution. It would have had to get recorded on the property
Yeah.
previously and made a note of at that time. So, but I think, Mr. Lindsay, we can probably proceed with that. Is that something you can do or?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a list of properties that you can get. Okay. I'll make a motion, that the city attorney do the paperwork on the residents and the encumbrances for the double water lines provided on the list.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, discuss library rubber roof. I guess we have some leaks up on the library roof, so I guess first thing we need to do is bring Range Cornice in and look at it. I don't think that roof is that old, so.
Mayor and Levine, Rob was able to go up there and a majority, he thinks it's leaking on the seams and around the vent. And he would just like them to come see if they could just seal where the seams are versus doing a whole new roof or what our options are. So we're looking to see if that's okay with you guys.
Well, that's fine. They're very good. They're very fair to the city. They worked on all of our roofs. I highly recommend it.
I'll make a motion to allow Range Cornice to come and look at the library roof.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8.3, review Keewatin Fire Department bylaws.
So the bylaws are just, we talked about this last meeting, just to allow us to be able to hire EMS separate or in addition to, so that they would only have one role. So we could do EMS, or you could do fire, or you could do both.
I think that's a great idea.
We need some help. We agree.
Diana, so this is just a portion of the bylaws,
Yes, yes.
just the parts that need to be changed to
For
allow us to move
yes.
forward.
No,
It's not all.
Great idea. It's tough to do both, and some people don't want to do the medical part, some people want to do the fireman part.
Is it the auditor that
Best of
does,
both worlds.
people
have been doing this for all of them?
Yeah, so the auditor said that it wasn't even possible until like 5 years ago
like 2019, 27 years ago, something like that, that they allowed EMS to be separate or included. So they went through our auditor, the auditor approved them, so that they were good to go, that we could hire EMS. And then we would have to update our pension side, so the relief bylaws will be updated, those will go to the auditor and then come to the council as well. But we do have interest, I think we have got like at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 people that are interested in just the EMS side already, so.
Is that the fire department auditor that recommended that?
Correct. Sterling Company.
Make a motion,
I'll make a motion to approve the update to the bylaws for the fire department.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. All right, 8.4, approve Keewatin Trail Runner raffle to be provided.
We're here asking that you guys approve a permit to send into the state to allow us to have raffle or fundraisers for this trail. Everything is a match for grant and aid, so we have to have a bankroll in order to match the grants we get. And we are asking that you approve this. We can submit, figure out the dates we want to hold the raffles, to submit it to the state for approval to get a permit to hold our own raffles. That's all.
So just instead of using the Legion's license or Amtrak's or something, we're just gonna apply for our own permit. I talked to Wade about having them at the Legion. He said that was okay there, or we would have them at the community center. And we plan on doing 3 raffles this year, what we'd like to do. Yet to be determined, you know.
No, this is the start of the stage. I mean, we've got to start someplace, and we got to apply for the permit before we can organize a plan and raffle.
Is there a limit of how much money you can make on them?
Yeah, it's all in the form I submitted to that.
Oh, it's that much, well, that's good. I think when we used to do this, it was like 1,600, you know. That was for the Suns.
It says right on the permit.
1,500.
No. 50,000.
Oh, yeah, or 50,000, depending on what.
Yeah. depending
Yeah.
on how it goes.
It's
So
up to
what we would be
15
doing
or
would be up to
50.
$50,000.
Okay,
Nice.
so you're doing the 5.
Yeah, the 5, but we're opting only to do 3, right? You can do up to 5 with that permit. We will pick 3 dates and 3 venues to do 3 throughout this year and limit it to that just because of our timeline, and you have to have time to sell and plan, and, right? So we're looking to do 3.
So Brian, have you looked at that? Because, I mean, there's no date on it or location yet.
Correct, that's my understanding of this type of permit application, that you're supposed to, the application is supposed to be made in conjunction with a specific event. And so you're supposed to set a date and a time when the raffle will be drawn.
If you'll look at the form, there's a box for the city requirements. It says premises only. That form is for the gambling control board, not for you. I'm just asking you to sign it permissive so that I can apply.
So you're saying you're not gonna get a gambling permit number until you apply? Or I guess,
We won't get a permit number until we actually send an application to the state and they approve the but we have to have local government backing in order for the state to approve the permit.
Right.
So on page one, it asks for date and place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Not
under
paid.
control, gambling control board. If you look on page
That's,
two,
that's,
in that
again,
little yellow square, that's your spot.
See, you
So you're not the
have one of those, Brian?
What's that?
You have one of these?
I'm looking on, and so I suppose what the action the council could take is the council could say, could determine whether or not they support the activity. But then, I mean, essentially, it's contingent upon the organization filling all the parameters that are required by the state. And so the council could make a policy level decision saying, we would allow such an activity in town, or we would deny the activity in town.
Correct, and that's what that box is asking.
Okay.
That's what that's asking. The form itself is to send to the control board. All we're asking is that you sign off on your square.
so then once you get the dates and location, then you come back again to get it approved.
Mm-hmm.
So you want us to approve on whatever date that we don't know about.
You're saying.
Why would it matter?
Approval,
What date they have?
You're saying that you support the fact that we could hold a raffle contingent with our dates and stuff that are submitted with the state. The city is not regulating or having, overseeing what is happening. You're already saying, yeah, you could hold your raffles. I mean, we're not asking for the city for anything for this other than to say, yeah, you can hold a raffle.
I guess has anyone talked to the gambling board to see if this has to be completely filled out before it's approved by us? I've never, myself, it's whenever I've received an application like this, it's been complete with date and location.
By somebody that already has a permit?
No, they'll fill it in and then send it.
Wait, is this when the Legion moves their facility to the community center?
No, this isn't the one they fill out. It's a totally different permit.
Well, I'm trying to find out.
No, that one's, I'm just talking the
bottom
LG
back is for the
220
state
or
gambling commission, you know.
the other for bingos and stuff. It's a different form as well. An exempt permit for that.
I guess my question is, what difference does it make what day we have them? As far as venue, we've already discussed,
So are they all going to be in Keewatin?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that anybody's against you
No.
guys holding it here, that's for
No.
sure. I mean,
No.
why wouldn't we
for it.
want something to be?
I mean, that's
out?
like picking your vacation for next year today, right? We don't know when we're gonna have them. It'll happen as we can get them going.
Then my other question, I think, you have to submit this every time, correct?
No.
No, this is
One.
four up to,
For up to,
For
okay.
up to 5 raffles.
so the permit will only be good for up
It's one
to five.
permit. And
Yeah.
it's for up to 5, which I said, we're gonna put 3 on there. We have not picked the dates yet. As far as the location, it'll be the Legion or the Community Center. So bringing people to town for the raffle, hopefully supporting our local business, that's it. The dates, it's just a tricky thing to figure out ahead of time, right?
Right.
Eventually we'll have to, because we have to
Right.
have it on there to submit it to the state gambling board, right? We're just asking you to sign it before that, so we can have time to get our things together and pick dates, right?
What are you guys raffling? Like cash or
Well, we
prizes
don't
or?
know.
You
See,
don't know
that's the
yet?
thing. We'd like to give away a machine, a side-by-side,
Mm.
hopefully. Cash raffle possibly. That's the things we're still trying to work on, right? So if it's not enough for you just to sign off on it, then I guess we'll fill it out completely and bring it back next meeting, that's all.
I guess I would prefer if the attorney just weighs in on it, because like I said, I've never had an application presented without it being complete. And sometimes you have to do a resolution,
Sure.
some of them as well. So, I mean, it could get approved, there's also with the waiting period, but I've never done that, or any council that I've had worked under before has never had a waiting period. It's immediate, so. I don't know, I'm just
Sure, and
concerned.
or we could bypass you and go to the county with it too, or use somebody else's gambling license, but we don't wanna do that, we wanna do it on
I
our
want
own
you
terms,
guys to have yours.
with our own permit, right? That's the whole point.
We're working at the trail, we're bringing, tourists and business into town here. It's-
Yeah, well, no one's
Effort
against
between
it,
all.
it's just the legality of filling it out correctly.
Okay.
And I guess I'd weigh in on the attorney.
And Mayor, that's my concern is that well, we've got a box to check, there's these other boxes, and what we're
But
seeing
those
is
other boxes are for the gambling board, not for you.
correct, but basically what you're asking the city to do is to sign off on a document that's not complete yet. And that's a concern that I have.
Sure.
So, I mean, if you're able to
But I
set,
thought we're all friends and neighbors here, right? We're not from outside groups.
well, I think everybody's friends and neighbors. It's my job to watch out for the city and say, you can't be signing off on something that's not filled out.
I don't see why not, what's the difference? I'm gonna have raffles. Everybody else in town has a gambling license that this town signed off on.
That's a premise license, so it's
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
And we're all in support of doing it.
Yeah.
But not until I pick dates and venues.
That's,
Or we get a hold of somebody from the gambling board and they tell us this is fine, you know what I mean? Then we'll do it. Like, I think we can solve
Did you
that.
call,
Well, that'll be easy to do, because Chris Whitney's wife is.
Exactly, so I don't see why we can't fix
Mayor?
it, so.
Mayor, I
Yes.
did reach out and ask her,
Okay,
and she is asking for the time, the dates, and the location to be completed on the form.
Okay.
So, and
I
then
wish you-
after that, I drafted you this nice letter. You want to be heard. This is your time to be heard, sir.
No, I don't want to be heard, I just want the paper signed, or if
Right.
you weren't gonna sign it, tell me why, and we'll do it.
We'd be happy to sign it and support you.
So
Clear.
if Jessica says it needs to be filled out, then that's what we gotta do. But I really wish you said that sooner. So next month, completed form.
thank you, Mark.
thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, 8.5, discuss citywide cleanup dates. Randy, I guess you mean you were running the show here or what?
yeah,
I guess we gotta come up with a date.
pick a,
What did we do last year, the
Meeting
second week of, May?
May. You guys want to pick a meeting date though?
Try to get volunteers.
I thought you want to set the date of the cleanup days.
That date.
no, I think we're asking permission to start having like a
Sure, so
meeting, to get volunteers and plan it.
what's that, Randy?
I thought we were gonna just ask the permission to have a meeting with volunteers and get the ball rolling.
We need to pick a date though.
Mhm.
When do we do it?
Last year, we did it the second week of May. So
Yeah.
that was,
So it'd be
like
on-
cleanup with,
So we're only gonna
sticks
do one
and
day, right?
leaves and then you did it on the Saturday, I believe, the
Yeah.
17th.
So second week, it would be the 10th.
Can we do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
No, last year we only did one day.
Saturday.
Yeah, last year was the day of action.
That was totally different.
That was
That's
the
something else.
14th or something, or June.
Oh, you
United Way thing.
I don't know what do you think about the 10th?
Well, weekend's open weekend.
Second.
10th.
Yeah.
It is the
And
10th?
Mother's Day's on the
All right,
11th,
do it that weekend.
Do it the 17th then.
Okay, I'll make a motion to set the spring cleanup days for May 12th through the 16th with the
City crew.
city event for cleanup for residents on whatever washers, dryers, etc. on the 17th, Saturday the 17th, from 8 to noon or whatever you guys did last year.
I don't know. We do every day. 9 to 4 or something.
like 9 to 5 or something. That was during the week though. It filled up. I was in contact with Chris, as she said, it filled up the dumpsters right away and it shut down early.
Right. It'll be based on that, again, we'll probably do that long ago.
Mhm.
Do like Casey said, we'll try to get a hold of the steel guys and see if somebody willing to work a deal out with us. The other guys, they just had to put it on the ground, and they came with a machine and picked it all up, took it.
Oh, and that,
And we had your, what's it called?
either one.
Yeah, so they wouldn't even have to bring dumpsters in. For that.
I'll support her motion, 12th through the 16th with the 17th as the final cleanup day for residents. Time to be determined after we meet with everyone.
And maybe, I think we got some dumpsters donated, didn't we? from
Yep.
And
Demcon
speaking with Greg Stoltz today, once you have your date and your committee meets, then you just have to contact him and he'll line up. He has some connections on getting dumpsters and stuff, and then he recommended, because the city has a lot of garbage of its own, some is at the sewer plant, the pop machine in the garage here, that to put that in there, and then Cohasset, you just said their name, Bass Brook would come and take it all at one time.
That's what I think took it last year with the scrap truck coming with the gravel.
So Mayor, is the council looking to appoint you and Randy to this committee?
We'll have to set our motion.
Okay,
Finished it.
Need to vote on that.
we have a first from Counselor Levine and a second from Counselor Nash to set those dates.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll make a motion to appoint Randy and Nash and Vic Levine to the cleanup crew department.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mayor,
Yes.
I got 2 items I'd like to just bring up under new business. One, I'd just like to make a motion to lay off the seasonal employees at the rink, since that's probably closed up.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And one more, I'd like to make a motion to advertise for summer seasonal workers.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, I think we'll over here. Skip these departments tonight for.
I don't, I just had one, I do have one thing.
Okay.
We are scheduling a 4th of July meeting on Monday, March 24th at 5 o'clock, if anybody's interested in volunteering to help out for this year's 4th of July.
March, what was that?
24th at 5 o'clock and be at City Hall. That's all.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.